Before you buy anything in 2026, you need to hear this. Manufacturers are phasing in disposable drivetrains, touchscreen-dependent controls, and diagnostics that punish independent repairs. But here's the hidden truth. The trusted American badges didn't make the reliability cut this year. And your safety, your wallet, and your sanity depend on understanding why. Which brands secretly improved while everyone else cut corners? Why are long-term failure rates spiking so fast? And which 7 models still offer a decade of real ownership? Because when we reach the end, you won't just know the list. You'll know which cars to avoid at all costs. Mazda CX-30. Crisis in the modern car market did not start with broken electronics or overcomplicated hybrid systems. It started the moment manufacturers forgot that reliability is built on restraint, not spectacle. The Mazda CX-30 with the 2.0 Skyactiv G naturally aspirated engine is one of the final reminders that engineering discipline still exists. In a landscape where complexity has become a selling point and longevity an afterthought, this humble crossover has quietly earned a reputation that borders on mythic. It is not flashy, it is not aggressive, and it rarely appears on magazine covers. Yet it survives real-world ownership tests that more expensive, feature-stuffed competitors fail in their first few years. To understand why the CX-30 earns the 7th spot on the list of the only 7 new cars worth buying in 2026, you need to look beyond horsepower charts and marketing brochures. The heart of this machine is the 2.0-liter Skyactiv G naturally aspirated engine, a study in mechanical honesty. No turbochargers spinning at hundreds of thousands of revolutions per minute. No dual-stage hybrid systems stitched together by software patches. No cylinder deactivation, no mild hybrid belt starter generators, and no gimmicks whose sole purpose is to make brochures sparkle. Mazda rejected the temptation to chase trends and instead preserved an engine architecture that prioritizes smoothness, consistency, and longevity over headline numbers. The reliability data backs this up. Fleet evaluations in Japan show CX-30 units crossing 300,000 kilometers with virtually no major driveline failures. Taxi operators in regions with harsh traffic cycles report similarly uneventful long-term performance, with engines maintaining compression and timing chains showing remarkably low stretch. Independent workshops across Australia note that the 2.0 Skyactiv G behaves more like a mid-1990s Toyota engine than a contemporary European powertrain. It simply runs. It does not chase perfection. It chases permanence. But the CX-30's appeal runs deeper than engine survival. Mazda made a deliberate choice to preserve tactile controls. Physical climate knobs, real buttons for audio, and a rotary controller for the infotainment system. These are not nostalgic gimmicks. They are safety systems disguised as convenience. Drivers do not fumble through layered digital menus to adjust cabin temperature. They do not take their eyes off the road to control basic functions. In a world where touchscreens dominate dashboards like slot machines, Mazda's restraint feels revolutionary. Even the cost equation favors the CX-30 despite its seemingly premium price tag. When long-term reliability, resale value, and low repair frequency are factored in, total ownership costs fall below many cheaper crossovers burdened with turbo failures, dual-clutch transmission issues, and rapidly aging electronics. Mechanics from Munich to Melbourne echo the same sentiment. The naturally aspirated CX-30 is the model they would recommend to their own families. It is not the fastest, it is not the flashiest, but it is built to endure the reality of ownership rather than the fantasy of marketing. And if this is number 7, wait until you see how number 6 rewrites the rulebook on what boring truly means. Toyota Corolla, hybrid sedan. Every generation of car buyers eventually encounters a machine that refuses to die. And for 2026, that machine is the Toyota Corolla hybrid sedan. With the 1.8 hybrid system, it is the quiet truth hiding in plain sight. The vehicle dismissed as ordinary until owners begin comparing repair bills and realizing they have outsmarted an entire industry built on engineered obsolescence. Where rivals chase turbocharged theatrics and software gimmicks, the Corolla hybrid chooses endurance, a stubborn devotion to parts that last rather than parts that impress. At the center of this longevity is Toyota's 1.8-liter Atkinson cycle engine, paired with an electronically controlled, continuously variable transmission. A combination refined over more than 2 decades of relentless global use. There are no turbos spinning at impossible speeds, no dual clutch mechanisms waiting to suffer heat death in stop-and-go traffic, and no direct injection, carbon nightmares lurking beneath the surface. Everything is understressed, everything is proven, and everything is designed to be fixed rather than replaced. Fleet records across Europe showcase Corolla hybrids surpassing 300,000 kilometers, with nothing more than oil changes, brake pads, cabin filters, and the occasional auxiliary battery replacement. Items so modest they barely register as maintenance on modern spreadsheets. Mechanics consistently remark that this drivetrain behaves like an artifact from a vanished era, running cool, running clean, and running predictably, even when subjected to abusive city cycles. The electronically controlled, continuously variable transmission, often misunderstood by enthusiasts, avoids the clutch packs, mechatronic modules, and thermal failures that plague comparable systems from competitors. Even the hybrid battery, the part cynics love to fear, has demonstrated real-world lifespans exceeding 15 years in documented fleets, and replacement costs remain far below the catastrophic repair bills common in modern turbocharged platforms. Toyota's refusal to bury essential controls behind laggy touchscreens also matters more than critics admit. Tactile switches and physical climate knobs reduce distraction, preserve muscle memory, and spare owners from the inevitable failure cycles of cheap capacitive panels. You sit down, you adjust the temperature, you drive, and the car simply works year after year without software tantrums or electronic betrayals. While many manufacturers chase digital theatrics, Toyota chooses the unglamorous path of functional reliability, and the market rewards that choice with exceptional resale values and almost non-existent warranty claims. Choosing the Corolla hybrid sedan in 2026 is not choosing excitement. It is choosing peace of mind, the quiet confidence that tomorrow morning your car will start, your dashboard will glow without errors, and your wallet will remain intact. It is the dependable workhorse in a collapsing landscape, the machine that resists the industry's obsession with disposability, and the sedan that proves boring can be extraordinary when the world around it is failing. And if the Corolla hybrid's calm defiance of modern fragility feels surprising, then the next contender will challenge your expectations even further, because number 5 does not rely on advanced technology, premium marketing, or futuristic promises. Instead, it survives by embracing ruthless simplicity, unapologetic durability, and a philosophy of engineering that values longevity above every fashionable trend that has consumed the contemporary automotive world around today. Like, subscribe and share your thoughts, because keeping this channel growing helps us keep exposing which cars truly survive real-world ownership. If you want more truthful breakdowns that protect your wallet and future decisions, now is the perfect time to support the channel. Suzuki Swift. Some cars earn admiration through power, luxury, or prestige. But the Suzuki Swift with the 1.2 dual-jet, naturally aspirated engine earns its respect the hard way, by refusing to quit when every competitor around it collapses under the weight of unnecessary complexity. In an era where compact cars cost as much as small homes once did, the Swift stands defiantly as a symbol of mechanical honesty, a machine designed not to impress your neighbors, but to outlive their trend-chasing purchases by hundreds of thousands of kilometers. This is the people's car in the purest sense, built for drivers who value longevity more than layered touchscreens or fleeting performance spikes. At the heart of the Swift's resilience lies the 1.2-liter dual-jet, naturally aspirated engine, a power plant so unbothered by modern fragility that it feels transported from a more disciplined engineering era. There is no turbocharger spinning at unimaginable speeds, no direct injection pump pressurizing fuel systems to extremes, and no fragile emissions add-ons waiting to implode the moment warranty coverage expires. Instead, Suzuki delivers a straightforward port-injected design with low internal stresses, excellent thermal stability, and maintenance requirements so minimal they border on comedic. It is the kind of engine that mechanics describe as unremarkable in the best possible way, a trait that saves owners thousands over the lifespan of the vehicle. Fleet data across Eastern Europe reinforces this truth. Swifts routinely surpass 350,000 kilometers, with nothing more dramatic than periodic oil changes, brake pads, and an occasional clutch replacement that costs a fraction of what competing models demand. Many of these high-mileage heroes operate in punishing urban conditions, where constant idling and stop-and-go traffic chew through more sophisticated drivetrains in a matter of years. Yet the Swift endures, shrugging off neglect that would annihilate turbocharged hatchbacks and hybrid crossovers twice its price. Inside, durability trumps decoration. Hard plastics dominate the cabin, and that is intentional. There are no soft-touch coatings destined to peel, no piano black trim waiting to scratch at the slightest glance, and no delicate mechanisms crying for replacement every few seasons. Buttons function as buttons should, simple and tactile. Even the infotainment is more of a utility than a spectacle, offering smartphone integration without forcing drivers into touchscreen dependency for critical functions. Everything about the interior serves longevity rather than fashion. Repairability remains one of the Swift's secret weapons. Independent shops love it because parts are widely available, affordable, and free from proprietary encryption that traps owners inside dealership networks. A full front suspension refresh, something that can financially cripple owners of European compacts, costs little more than a weekend getaway in regions where the Swift is common. It is mechanical democracy on four wheels. Choosing the Swift in 2026 is less about embracing minimalism and more about rejecting an industry that has forgotten how to build for the long haul. And if the Swift's stubborn simplicity feels refreshing, wait until you meet number 4, a car that blends practicality with purpose while standing tall against the digital decay consuming its segment. Honda Civic. Every automotive era has a sleeper hero, a machine that refuses to follow the industry into its maze of complexity. And in 2026, that quiet rebel is the Honda Civic, equipped with the 1.5 turbo engine and the manual transmission. It does not shout for attention. It does not lure buyers with oversized touchscreens or digitally animated dashboards. Instead, it presents something far rarer in the modern world: mechanical integrity, paired with the kind of engineering restraint that prioritizes longevity over spectacle. In a landscape defined by fragile dual clutches, overworked turbos, and infotainment systems that age faster than bread, the Civic stands as a defiant reminder that honest cars still exist. Honda's 1.5-liter turbocharged engine has a story worth telling. Early versions faced well-documented oil dilution issues, but Honda's response was measured, precise, and effective. Software revisions, thermal management improvements, and updates to fuel system behavior transformed the post-2020 models into powertrains that mechanics now describe as predictable, durable, and wonderfully anti-dramatic. Paired with a manual transmission that eliminates the inherent weaknesses of continuously variable transmissions, the Civic becomes a machine built for owners who want control, reliability, and transparency in how their vehicle behaves. Reliability data from long-term inspections in Europe and Southeast Asia shows that manual-equipped Civics maintain exceptionally low drivetrain failure rates, even when subjected to aggressive commuting cycles. Independent garages report that the gearboxes withstand abusive use with surprising grace, and clutch replacements, when eventually needed, cost a fraction of what continuously variable transmission repairs demand. The combination of a relatively simple turbo architecture with the manual gearbox strips away layers of mechanical vulnerability, allowing the engine to breathe freely, operate cleanly, and age with dignity over hundreds of thousands of kilometers. Inside, Honda's commitment to genuine usability separates the Civic from the digital chaos consuming most compact cars. Climate control knobs remain physical. Audio controls provide tactile feedback. Essential functions are never buried in touchscreen menus that demand driver attention at the worst possible moments. Hard plastics dominate high-wear surfaces because they last, not because they photograph well. The cockpit feels engineered by people who drive, not committees chasing design awards. It is a place built for decades, not months. The Civic's packaging also sets it apart. Rear seat space comfortably accommodates full-grown adults. Visibility remains superior to anything in its class. And the cargo area swallows luggage that leaves trendier hatchbacks gasping. It is practical without being pretentious, sporty without being fragile, and durable without being dull. This is the rare modern compact that behaves like the legendary Hondas of the 1990s and early 2000s, not in styling, but in spirit, durability, and mechanical honesty. Choosing the Civic in 2026 is an act of quiet rebellion, a refusal to accept disposable engineering as the new normal. It is the car that proves competence can still beat complexity. And if the Civic feels like a breath of fresh air, prepare yourself for number 3, a European survivor that stands alone against the digital avalanche consuming its homeland. Skoda Octavia. In a world where European automakers have sprinted toward touchscreens, subscription traps, and diagnostics locked behind proprietary digital walls, the pre-facelift Skoda Octavia, equipped with the 1.5 turbocharged stratified injection engine and a manual gearbox, feels like an artifact rescued from a saner timeline. It is the final European family car built before the industry surrendered entirely to software obsession. A machine shaped by practicality, mechanical transparency, and the quiet confidence of engineering done with human hands rather than corporate algorithms. While its facelifted successor drowned in capacitive panels and digital arrogance, the earlier version stands as the last candle flickering in a storm of overcomplication. The 1.5-liter turbocharged stratified injection engine used in this Octavia represents the most mature expression of Volkswagen Group's smaller turbocharged architecture. Where the earlier 1.2 unit suffered chain stretch and lubrication nightmares, and where the larger 2.0 engines wrestled with carbon buildup and fragile emission systems, the 1.5 sights in a sweet spot of thermal stability, fuel efficiency, and long-term predictability. Pairing it with a manual transmission eliminates the single greatest failure point in the group's modern lineup, the dual-clutch gearbox. With the manual, owners gain not only a more engaging drive, but also freedom from mechatronic failures, clutch pack degradation, and catastrophic repair bills that can eclipse the value of the car before it reaches 150,000 kilometers. Tactile usability defines the pre-facelift cabin. Physical climate knobs, real buttons for essential functions, and a clean instrument layout give the driver mastery instead of menus. Nothing interferes with muscle memory. Nothing hides behind animated icons. In an age when some manufacturers proudly place hazard lights inside touchscreen submenus, Skoda delivers an interface that respects the driver, the mechanic, and the simple idea that cars should remain operable even when screens age, glitch, or fail completely. Inspection records across Germany reveal that the 2020 to 2023 pre-facelift Octavia, with the 1.5 turbocharged stratified injection engine and manual transmission posts, significantly fewer electronic failures than its facelifted sibling. The difference lies not in the engine, but in the software load, sensor density, and interior hardware philosophy. Fewer capacitive surfaces mean fewer points of failure. Less digital dependency means fewer opportunities for bugs that immobilize vehicles. Workshops consistently note that the pre-facelift model is approachable, diagnosable with widely available tools, and refreshingly cooperative during long-term ownership. Even the build quality reflects Skoda's reputation for meticulous human oversight. Gaps align, trim resists rattling, and components age gracefully rather than deteriorating into squeaks and flickers. Practicality remains unmatched. The Octavia's cavernous luggage space rivals mid-size sport utility vehicles, and rear legroom approaches executive sedan territory. Families, travelers, and business owners rely on this model because it does the one thing modern cars struggle with. It simply works, day after day, without theatrics or excuses. Choosing the pre-facelift Octavia in 2026 is choosing the last trustworthy European all-rounder before the continent's manufacturers surrendered to digital excess. And if this survivor impresses you, wait until number 2 shows how a true sports car can outlast the very brands that once defined German durability. Subscribe now if you want the full list and future breakdowns that cut through marketing noise and reveal the honest machines still worth owning. Staying subscribed ensures you never miss the essential insights that manufacturers would prefer you never hear. Mazda MX-5. Some cars survive because they are practical, some because they are cheap to run. But the Mazda MX-5 with the 2.0-liter manual powertrain survives because it is built with an honesty the automotive world abandoned decades ago. In 2026, when sports cars increasingly rely on artificial soundtracks, electronic dampers, drive-by-software throttles, and layers of complexity masquerading as innovation, the MX-5 feels almost rebellious. It dares to remain simple. It dares to remain mechanical. It dares to remain real. And that defiance is exactly why it has become one of the most reliable new cars left on the planet. Mazda's naturally aspirated 2.0-liter engine is a masterclass in smart constraint. There is no turbocharger spinning at hundreds of thousands of revolutions per minute. No variable geometry vanes waiting to seize. No hybrid modules relying on battery cooling systems that struggle under heat soak. Instead, the engine breathes freely, runs cool, and delivers power through a frictional simplicity that modern enthusiasts rarely experience anymore. The architecture is deliberately understressed, meaning each combustion cycle places less strain on internal components. The result is an engine that routinely crosses 300,000 kilometers without major internal failures. A number confirmed through owner logs, enthusiast forums, and workshop records spanning 3 continents. But the MX-5's reliability story does not end with its engine. The manual transmission is one of the last truly bulletproof gearboxes offered in a modern production vehicle. Independent mechanics frequently describe it as almost impossible to kill, and for good reason. Its mechanical layout is straightforward, its synchros are robust, and its clutch replacement, when eventually needed, is manageable, at a cost far below the nightmare bills. Associated with dual-clutch transmissions, or continuously variable transmissions, no mechatronic modules, no clutch packs frying in traffic, no software calibrations causing ghost issues, just gears, shafts, bearings, and a purity of purpose. The rest of the car follows the same philosophy. The soft top is manual, eliminating the motors, sensors, and pressure systems that doom so many convertible roofs to early death. The suspension is simple, tunable, and inexpensive to maintain. Electronics exist, but do not dominate the driving experience or the repair process. Everything is accessible, fixable, and built to age gracefully. Owners often report that the car feels the same at 200,000 kilometers as it did at 20,000, an uncommon fate in the era of digital degradation. Then there is the emotional truth. MX-5 owners care. They maintain their cars. They do the oil changes. They avoid the neglect that destroys so many vehicles. Combined with Mazda's restrained engineering, this devoted ownership culture creates a feedback loop of longevity that few other models can match. Choosing the Mazda MX-5 in 2026 is choosing joy without consequence, performance without fragility, and engineering without excuses. And if this lightweight survivor impresses you, wait until number 1 reveals the only small sport utility vehicle capable of outlasting every competitor in its class with almost effortless consistency. Toyota Yaris Cross Hybrid. Some vehicles rise to the top not through speed or luxury, but through an almost mythic refusal to fail. And in 2026, the Toyota Yaris Cross Hybrid with the 1.5 hybrid system stands alone as the most dependable new car money can buy. It is not glamorous, it is not designed to thrill, and it is certainly not the kind of machine that wins comparison tests written by journalists chasing excitement. Yet, when the excitement fades, when the electronics glitch, when the turbos crack, and when the software subscriptions lock features behind paywalls, the Yaris Cross remains what it has always been, the quiet champion of real-world ownership. At the heart of this durability is Toyota's 1.5-liter, 3-cylinder hybrid powertrain. a downsized evolution of the legendary 1.8 system that has logged billions of kilometers worldwide. The mechanical layout is deceptively simple. There is no turbocharger waiting to introduce thermal chaos into the engine bay. There is no dual-clutch transmission preparing to cook its clutch packs in urban traffic. There are no complicated coolant valves or fragile electronic wastegates. Instead, Toyota relies on a proven electrically assisted, continuously variable transmission architecture and an engine operating in the Atkinson cycle, a thermodynamic configuration that trades peak power for astonishing longevity. Fleet documentation across Europe confirms the reputation. Yaris Hybrid and Yaris Cross Hybrid units used in urban taxi service routinely surpass 400,000 kilometers without experiencing meaningful drivetrain failures. Brake wear remains low due to regenerative braking. Engine wear remains minimal thanks to efficient thermal cycles. And hybrid batteries, feared by the uninformed, often last 15 years or more before any capacity loss becomes noticeable. When replacements are eventually needed, they cost dramatically less than the catastrophic transmission or turbo repairs found in competing sport utility vehicles. Mechanics call the 1.5 hybrid boringly perfect, a phrase that should comfort any owner tired of drama under the hood. The Yaris Cross also avoids the ergonomic decay that plagues so many modern designs. Physical buttons remain present for essential functions. Climate controls are independent of the infotainment system and the digital screen, while functional never holds the vehicle hostage. This simple philosophy ensures the car remains operable even as software ages or updates slow. There is no touchscreen labyrinth. There is no dependency on capacitive surfaces. It is a machine built to be used daily by real people for decades. What truly secures the Yaris Cross as the #1 pick is its total ownership equation. Fuel consumption remains remarkably low, approaching levels that rival compact sedans. Resale value remains among the highest in its segment. Warranty claims remain rare. And even as other brands rush into complexity, Toyota quietly preserves an engineering recipe that the world seems to have forgotten. Build things to last, not to impress. Choosing the Yaris Cross in 2026 is choosing 20 years of predictable mornings, low running costs, unwavering dependability, and near immunity from the failures haunting the modern automotive market. It represents long-term durability, mechanical honesty, and engineering discipline. In a world overwhelmed by software glitches, electronic fragility, turbo failures, subscription traps, and rising maintenance costs, this compact hybrid sport utility vehicle delivers real-world efficiency, proven reliability, smooth operation, and enduring practicality that resist the digital decay consuming so many contemporary models. It stands as a reminder that simplicity, thoughtful engineering, and customer-focused design still matter. Trusted by sensible owners everywhere, today worldwide. Its reputation continues growing because it consistently performs well under pressure in every environment and ownership scenario. And that's the full breakdown. If this helped you see which cars are truly built to last, hit like, drop a comment with the model you trust most, and subscribe so you never miss the next reliability guide. The industry is changing fast, and staying informed is the best way to protect your wallet and your sanity. Thanks for watching. Stay sharp, stay smart, and choose machines built to endure.